All right, so this one's going to be a little different. This one isn't so much of a side-by-side comparison and review as much as it is a general discussion, right? So what I'm going to try to answer here is, can the Philips SHP 9500s be somewhat of a baby HD600 from Sennheiser? Well, let's get into it. Let me explain why it can be, but not exactly, right? They are quite similar in some ways, but they're not as similar as other. They're not quite as similar as you might expect them to be, despite what people say, right? So let me get into detail there. Let's go with build quality here. Build quality, I mean, it's about the same. Speaking in terms of like scalability, right? Like $80 versus $300. Well, plastic with a little bit of metal, plastic with a little bit of metal, right? Except this is a better plastic and about the same type of metal. So yeah, for scaling purposes, it's about the same. Um, Comfort is a massive difference between the two. Now, these are miles ahead in comfort than the HD600s are, because these have a stronger clamp. These have a smaller cup size shape. Like, they're certainly an excellent amount of height. It's just they're not very wide, which is still perfectly fine. But with these, it's more of a circular design rather than an oval design. It's still oval, but it's a larger oval, just much larger compared to the HD600s. So these would actually take it in comfort by a long shot. So it's almost like these are the baby SHP 9500s when it comes to comfort, right? As far as amping goes, well, HD600s require a decent amp so that they can sound their best, whereas the 9500s don't. They can use a more budget DAC amp setup or run off of a smartphone, which I could definitely see them being a sort of a, baby HD600 kind of thing. Because let's say, you don't have that much money to spend in audio, generally speaking, so you're probably not going to spend a whole lot on the headphones. That means you're not going to spend a whole lot on the DAC and the amp either. You're going to want to stick to more budget versions of each one of them. That's where these can come in handy alongside like a Shitfulla 2 or an FX DAC Audio X6. Um, what else? Like the Mica Origin, stuff like that. That stuff could come in handy for in Philips SHP 9500s, where you want to have the connections to the PC and optical and SPDIF as coax. If you still have a freaking TV from like 2004, and you want to have the volume control, but you don't need a whole lot of power either. That's where these could come in handy and kind of pass off as like a baby SHP 9500. It's baby HD 600, right? Bass, they do remind me of each other a bit in the bass, right? Where they're both bass light, they're both respectful. They have an early roll off, which is not the best thing, but it's not the worst thing either. I've heard worse cases in audio where it's too much of something or a lack of something that make a much bigger impact that could be worse for your listening experiences. So they are similar in those bass regions, although I will point out that the mid bass on the SHP 9500s can be an ever so slightly more thick, can be a slight bit thicker than the HD 600s can be. So it's like a little less control, right? Mids, HD 600s are going to be the king of mids, definitely and for sure. But the SHP 9500s certainly have their benefits in the mids, where they have the advantages of like, say certain instruments within the mids, like say guitars, or some vocals, like background vocals, popping out a little more. Where, well, I wouldn't say it's reference, but it certainly has its perks, and it definitely has its advantages and strengths, right? Especially for a headphone in this price point. Now the treble, these are closer to neutral. They're much more controlled and they're less fatiguing, whereas these are a little grainier, a little sharper, and a little harder to get used to. And that's kind of where I could kind of see it as like let's pretend this comparison, right? Like, let's say 600s versus 650s, where the 650s are darker and easier, like a more smooth sound signature. And then the 600s are considered, the peaky ones, the ones with the sharper treble, right? Well, the HD600s are the SHP 9500's HD650s, if you know what I mean, right? Like, let's say these were the 650s and these are the 600s. That would be kind of like the same comparison, so to speak, where these are the smoother, more relaxed sound signature, and these are the sharper, like harder to get used to sound signature, but that offers a little more detail. So as far as that comparison goes, yeah, it's just to a greater extent, but I can definitely see them kind of resembling HD600-ish qualities as far as that goes, right? Soundstage, this isn't a comparison here. This is just much wider than this Soundstage. Whether that's better for you or not, that's up to you. But much wider Soundstage, much better for gaming. These are certainly excellent for gaming. I use them for gaming, and I have no issues with them because I want to listen to music while I play games. Like online games, like say Overwatch or Fortnite. Ugh. Oh, God. Pretending I play Fortnite, right? That's what I do. I listen to music and I play the games, right? I played the games. It's pretty good. You won't have any complaints with it, but these will definitely have the wider soundstage to create that immersive experience of look at everything around me and I can hear this and I can hear that. It'll be much more beneficial for you if you use the SHP 9500s for gaming. Overall speaking, yeah, I like these, and I can certainly see why some people may call them the HD600, an alternative, like a budget HD600. I can see that, but at the same time, it's just not quite the same thing. If you have the money to upgrade, please get the HD600s and don't stick to the SHP 9500s thinking, oh, well, these are going to offer slight, very slight improvements over these because like it's a law of diminishing return and stuff. No. These still have their strengths. These still have definitely plenty of reason for you to upgrade to these and leave these behind or use these for like everything except for critical listening, right? Like more casual instances or use cases for them, right? Anyway, yeah, I could see why some people call these the HD600 replacements. I think, regardless of who you are, regardless of how pricey your headphones are at this current moment in time, these are worth a listen. You can buy them. And if you like them, well, hey, great, you're welcome. And if you don't like them, then you can just sell them to someone else, or you can return them to wherever it is you bought them, as long as they're in good condition. Please don't send these broken back to whatever retailer you bought them from. That's just being an ass. But yeah, I can definitely see the reason for getting these and a more budget setup if you do not have the funds to afford a higher end DAC, a higher end amp, and the HD600s. Because, think about it. A higher end DAC, let's say like 150, not higher end per se, but just definitely not budget. A higher end amp, let's say 150 to 200, that's 350. Plus these 300 already brings you up to 650. Let's see if you get them all used, bring you down to like 450 to 500. Whereas with this, and let's say a budget DAC amp option, like I'll just say the FX DAC Audio X6, which is like 65 on Amazon, plus these that are 80, brings you to $145. And hey, it's a budget version and you didn't spend a whole lot, but you're still getting a massive benefit over whatever cheapy headset or like Beats headphones you currently have. So yeah, I definitely see the advantages of getting these. And I'm probably going to end up keeping these actually. If not, I definitely might have a use case for these. So if I end up not keeping these, I'll probably just sell them to a friend or something because they're this good. Like if I cannot find a reason to use these, I will find someone who can because they will get the benefits of it and they're really worth it. So man, I really like the SHP 9500s. Yeah. Would have thought it.